both of you have brought up the conditions that were on offer. Let's dive straight into that. We hadn't seen much cricket in Tarouba. They'd hosted a few Group C games, the most notable of them being West Indies versus New Zealand. Now, when we look at what was on offer, the variable bounce, the amount of movement, was that a pitch, Tom, that you'd want to see in a World Cup knockout game?
I don't think you'd want to see it in any game, to be honest with you. You want a fair contest between bat and ball, and I'm not advocating that we need to have surfaces that you need 200 plus, but you need, for one, you need consistent bounce. That is the most important thing. Any batter would hold their hand up and say, that is the most important thing. If you've got one ball that's hitting the toe of your bat, or one that you feel like you're going to punch with your gloves at the same length, that is a very difficult challenge to combat. If you've got sideways movement or swing or spin, that's a challenge, a different challenge, but at least it's that there's some sort of consistency, and you can come up with some sort of strategy and method to combat that. Yeah, look, I don't think it was good enough. I actually covered 2 games in Trinidad at the Brian Lara Cricket Academy, and the surface was pretty similar. You see this sort of crazy paving, if I could put it that way, where a lot of grass, dense grass, was gathered around those cracks, and you could just tell that was the thing that promoted the inconsistency of bounce. So therefore, it'll be something that they'll reflect on, if not reflecting on already, and thinking, well, we've got this wrong.
Andy, weigh in on the conditions and what you made of what was on offer.
Yeah, you saw some interesting visual shots from above the square, and a couple of the commentators referenced this being a brand new pitch, and perhaps they could have used a pitch that had been used previously, and therefore you knew that it could produce a certain type of bounce. It's certainly something more consistent and predictable. But those shots showed that crazy paving type effect, and those blocks and the cracks around those blocks produced these wild variance in bounce. And as a batter, you're trying to predict where the ball's going to be. You want to meet it somewhere near the middle of the bat at least. And on this pitch, it was almost impossible to do that on any consistent basis at all. I thought it was actually a little bit dangerous. A couple of balls flew off a length around sort of shoulder, neck, chin height off the South African quicks. And one of them flew over Quinton de Kock, the keeper's head and gloves for 4 byes. And I was pleased that no one got hurt. We saw a little bit of a similar pitch in New York in the early part of the competition, which wasn't good enough for international quality quicks. And then we saw it again today, and it produced a complete mismatch. And you can't blame Afghanistan for doing what they did at the toss. They had such an excellent record, batting first and then defending with a very good, varied attack of their own. But to bat first on there was a really tough ask. You didn't know what a good score would be, and they were just blown away.